Hello, 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 everybody. How's everybody doing? This is Aurelia Davis, the educator's educator. And you know what? I think I'll tell a little bit about myself. If this is your first time seeing me, I am a former educator for Chicago Public Schools. My name is Aurelia Davis. I taught at CPS for over 31 years and retired in 2012. After retirement, I still felt that I had I'll just put it this way, the education bug in me. So I felt the need to continue to help educators in the field where I had previously worked. And especially after the pandemic, and so many teachers were placed in different situations to do different things in their classroom. I felt that there was a need that I could help. I felt that I could help. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do and have been trying to do for these years. Uh, I have offerings in my website. You can go to aureliadavis.com and see some of the offerings that I have. I am a creator of STEM learning cards for preschool. I've created these learning cards, and what I found out is that after doing some research for STEM, I found out that there was not a prescribed curriculum for STEM for preschool. And I felt that this was something that was necessary for the simple reason that I am a early childhood educator. My field is early childhood, and I love working with the smaller children. So I created these STEM cards, and you can go and see them over on my website, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them in a little bit. But I wanted to just sort of go into some of the things that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. Last week on I went there on Wednesday, and I didn't finish until Friday. I attended the Illinois Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, and they basically called it ilascd. Okay, but it stands for Illinois Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. And this particular conference has been in place now for quite a few years. They stated that this was their 43rd conference, 43rd conference. So that means it's been in place for a long time. And this particular conference takes place in Illinois during February going into March. And I attended last year, and I was a vendor last year, and I enjoyed it so much that I decided I wanted to go back this year and do it again. And I did. And what was so very inspiring was to see all of these educators of babies, educators of young children, those children that are in preschool, 3 and 5 year olds. And of course, everybody that came by my booth, I asked them, I said, "What grade do you teach?" And of course, we teach preschool, we teach kindergarten, we teach the 3 and 5 year olds. And then we did have some supervisors there, some people that were in charge of their particular daycare centers, and they decided to bring their teachers so that they can get more materials, more ideas on what to do in their classrooms, Some of the conference offerings they had, yoga. Yoga. I have a friend. I met somebody that was teaching yoga and teaching their children, teaching teachers how to teach their children yoga. That means basically taking that child and taking them from a high level to a low level for as far as behavior is concerned, that so that they could learn a little better, and they have different techniques to do there. And then there was a lot of workshops on trauma, so on and so forth. We still have children that are coming through the pandemic, are just still trying to recover from the pandemic, and they just don't know how to do it. And what ends up happening is that these particular children end up in these classrooms, and the teachers have to learn how to work with them all over again. In other words, the child that they may have had in the before the schools shut down, the children that they may have been able to teach like in September, October are different than the children that they were received 2 or 3 years later after the pandemic. So the teachers were involved in quite a few workshops. I did find out that this particular year, where last year they did about 3,000, I think they did about 4,000 this year. So that just just shows and tells you that there is a need for these conferences. There is a need for these conferences. These teachers were coming to learn how to be better educators. Their passion is how to work with the children that are in front of them, how to be compassionate with the children that are in front of them, and how to give them exactly what they need in order for them to be lifelong learners. And so the conference is basically it is 2 days. It's 2 days, and the workshops go from 8 o'clock in the morning till about 3 in the afternoon. I attended a few workshops myself, and just found them to be very, 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 very valuable. While talking to some of the attendees at this particular conference, I did discover that there are now starting to be more, what would you call it? More second career people going into education, more second career people going into education. And I found out that it seemed to be people coming out. I met at least 3 people that were accountants, former accountants, and then now they're educators. Now they're educators. So I said that to say this, that as the shortage continues, or as the shortage is in place, then that allows individuals who want to seek second careers as educators to go into the field of teaching. To go into the field of teaching. I did even also hear that there are going to be some of the colleges are going to offer not the full curriculum to become a teacher, but basically giving them those method courses that will allow them to be educators. And they, with the desperation of trying to get more people in these classrooms, some of the schools and school districts are offering all kinds of incentives for people to come in and be educators in the classroom while also at the same time attending school. So this is good. This is good. It's like a roller coaster ride, because I remember when I started teaching in like the 80s, there was a shortage of teachers. There was a shortage of teachers. And I also worked with Chicago Public Schools as a mentor. And our job basically was to train individuals in second careers that wanted to become educators. And we did that for about a good 2 years until basically the field had been the field filled up again. But there were at least quite a few ladies, and I found out after talking to them, what they were saying is that during the pandemic they lost their jobs, and what they found out was still going on was education. Of course, teaching was still going on. And so by working with their children at home, or just seeing exactly that there was a need, they decided to go into education. So the call is still out there for people to go into education. And if you feel that is something that you've always wanted to do, but you didn't do it, there are so many universities out here now that are offering coursework for individuals that would like to go into the field of education. So this year, where last year I did not have my STEM cards, this year I did have my STEM cards. I was so proud. I had a little stack on my table. And as the teachers were coming through, I was introducing the STEM cards to them. I told them about the teacher guide, which they enjoyed. And then I had samples showing them how I had developed lessons for science, lessons for technology, lessons for engineering, and of course, lessons for math. And they liked them. They showed interest in liking them, and we did sell quite a few. And if you were one of those that still wanted to look at my STEM cards, feel free to go over to my website, aureliadavis.com. They're there. And we had some very, very, very beautiful t-shirts and different things and whatever. And we're even offering a retreat for the summer. So go over to the website, aureliadavis.com, and you're just going to see all kinds of things that will be very interesting. And I'm excited about it. So I hope you'll get excited about it too. As we are going through the end of the year. Teachers, you're quickly, rapidly approaching the end of the year. I'm sure by now you're getting into, you have probably tested for the state, and you're probably anxious to see exactly what that's going to look like. You've tested for the state, and you're getting ready for spring break. And at this particular time, even when I was an educator, I would start sort of rounding up all of my information, sort of gathering all of my information to see exactly what I was able to accomplish throughout for the whole year. With my three groups, of course, my children that are above average learners, then the children that I had that are on leveled learners. In other words, the ones that are level uh, grade level. That's what I'm trying to say. Grade level learners, and then those students that were having some difficulties in the areas of reading and math, and but at the same time they may have IEPs, they might be bilingual, so on and so forth. And that particular group, what I start doing then, what I would do then is start to evaluate those three groups all over again. I would start to evaluate to see exactly how far we were able to come together as a class. And what I found myself doing is that taking the time and even maybe evaluating each child, taking the time throughout the day to call each child up to my desk, having a personal conversation with them, asking them, because now they're more mature, they can talk about what they've learned. They can talk about what they like and their favorite subjects and the subjects that they're still having problems with. So to take the time with that third grader, second grader, or whatever grade you're teaching and talk to those students and find out exactly where they are as far as learning is concerned. And I found that we were able to go to the next level together as an educator and as a student. We were able to go to the next level together. And then I found that some were at the same level that they were, in other words, they hadn't did any much movement. They did some movement, but it wasn't enough to just mark. And then, of course, those children that were getting ready to go into fourth grade, they had made tremendous strides. And then some of them did not make tremendous strides. So out of a class of about 29 to 30 students, I found exactly what the difference of what I had when they came to me in August or September and what I had sitting in front of me in the month of March. Okay. And it was time for me to evaluate all of it. And what I came to the conclusion about is that there was not going to be a lot of time to do anything else, especially since they were getting ready to go into spring break, which would probably be coming up around Easter or in April. And then most likely schools would be closing the end of May, beginning of June. And so this sort of gave me a window of exactly what else I could do or what I could not do. And I, as an educator, decided that I did not fail. I was not a failure. As long as they were able to make some strides, I gave myself a pat on the back, whether the administrators did or not. I gave myself on a pat on the back because I remember and gave myself credit for all of the time and all of the things that I was able to feed into these children during the time that they were with me in my classroom. And I was proud of myself for what I was able to accomplish. Be it little or large or small, what I was able to accomplish, that made the difference. But at this time, what you would also like to do is those children that are still having real hard struggles, that have not made much of a lead into what they want, what they need. Those would be the children that you will work on and give basically one-on-one tutoring for the rest of the school year. The rest of the school year. And the good thing about it is usually no more than about 2 to 3 children. I think the times I did it, the largest group I had was 4, that I really had to give them one-on-one concentration as far as learning is concerned. And even within that period of time of maybe 1 or 2 months that I had left, I was still able to make some progress. They were able to make some progress. So we still were able to do something with that particular child. And so what I'm finding out that eventually Some children can are good at learning in a group, and then some children need one-on-one tutoring, one-on-one tutoring, and those particular areas, in the areas especially reading and math. Those are the areas that need more concentration on than anything else. And so, as you're getting to the end of this school year, take those particular children, find out exactly which ones still need your help, and just do some one-on-one. The rest of your class should be in the mode where they can basically manage themselves, and you can give them activities. It's time to do some fun activities, art activities, those type of things. Give them projects to work on and whatever, and then take the time to work with those other children one-on-one, where you can give them that extra additional help that they need in order for them to get to the next level. And then as you're doing that, then you also want to document what you're doing, so that the continuation of that one-on-one tutoring will take place when that child gets into the next grade. That teacher that he's going to needs to know that these particular children, that 3 or 4, still need some continuous tutoring in order for them to be able to progress in the areas of reading and math. So this is what's happening with me. I will be seeing you again, Aurelia Davis. Feel free to go over to my website. Please go over to my website. Go to my website and see my offerings. I'm doing curriculum development. I do 30-minute counseling, a little of everything. I did find some teachers that were struggling at this particular conference. There were some teachers that were struggling at this particular conference. So I just told them to go to my website and sign up for a session. And hopefully that's what they'll do, because what we need to realize as educators is it's not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix. It's not a quick fix, especially when you are working with children that belong to somebody else. You want them to come into your classroom ready to learn, and that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Sometimes you have to do some other things to get them to that particular level so that they're ready to learn. But in the meantime, you have the gift to give them. Learning is your gift to give them. But at the same time, if they are having some struggles with other things, emotional struggles, trauma struggles, social emotional learning, those types of things, and that keeps them from learning, then you want to be that person to help them get to the next level so that they can learn. This is Aurelia Davis, the educator's educator. As always, just wishing everybody the best, especially all of my teacher friends out there. Keep doing what you're doing. You are loved by me. Have a great one and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.